All right, guys, welcome to the first official Dishes and Fishes podcast episode. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tyler. I've been making videos on this channel for about 3 years on cooking and fishing content. Just recently, we kind of decided to branch out a little bit and create some more informal conversational content. So we're going to discuss some current events in fishing, maybe some cooking things later on in the future. But for today, we've got a pretty packed outline of things to go over with you guys today. And I'll be joined by my co-host, Pasquale. You may have seen him in a couple of videos on my channel. I think I've referred to him as my trusty first mate in a few different videos. Hopefully this set is in his home, so he will be featured on many episodes.
Yeah. Su casa.
You have anything you want to add, or do you want me to just get us going?
Let's get to it.
So I'm sure everybody at this point is aware of the cheating fishermen, these gentlemen from Ohio that were recently in a walleye fishing tournament.
Yeah, blew up pretty quick.
Yeah, so it's on national news.
I think The View is even talking about it.
The View?
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody on the show even fished ever.
I wrote a few news channels down here. It's been on CNN, New York Times, Fox News, TMZ. So at this point, it's been pretty popular. But if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna throw a little video right here on the screen.
There.
It'll be right here. So these guys, they weighed in their walleye, and I didn't realize that. I guess it was normal for like walleye to die when you weigh them in at walleye tournaments, because like all the fish were dead. But typically in bass fishing tournaments, the fish are alive when you weigh them in. But the tournament director proceeded to cut them open and discover 12-ounce weights in every single fish. And I thought this was pretty funny. They weighed in 5 fish for 33.91 pounds.
He was sus right away.
Yeah.
He knew there was something wrong. As soon as he said he held them, he's just like, they felt weird, they felt soft.
Who, the tournament director?
Yeah, tournament director did.
Listen to the second place weight, 16.8. So
yeah, they were all
these fish. I mean, it had to have been obvious. Like these fish, I don't think were that big. Like big discrepancy in size.
They said they would have took third place all day long with no weights or fillets added. We'll get to the fillet talk later. No one's talking about that. Should we jump right to that?
Yeah. So
let's go right to the fillets.
So
why do the weights and the fillets? And how do you get the fillets and the weights in the fish?
Yeah. So I wrote that down here. Like just the actual process of stuffing the fish full of these objects. And I read another article that said weights, fillets, and other objects, but I don't know what the other objects were. But maybe they wrapped the weights in fillets as a way to be courteous to the fish before they
through the mouth, through the.
Yeah, I would say through the mouth. Yeah, because they were all in when he gutted it, they were all in like the body cavity. Like,
but how? Like it's like.
Maybe that's.
Listen, we're all fishermen, right? Anybody watching this went fishing, besides the people from The View. We've all had hooks, gill hook, down there. These are big weights, and these are big fillets. I mean, these are like McDonald's fillets. I mean, these are. There's no way you get it through the mouth.
They had a premeditated, like they had a tool that I guarantee you they just shoved them in there.
I would almost, because I mean, like in bass fishing, in those tournaments, we've all seen the guy will pre-fish 3 days before. They have a basket with a buoy tied to his stick, and then they, during a tournament, they drive over there and they open the basket, take their fish. I would almost say these fish were somewhere else, way down. I mean, think about during a tournament. You got to put those weights in there, and then the fillets. I mean,
oh yeah, you really
it's
have
a
to
process.
Plan this
and fish and look like you're fishing.
Okay.
Like you're doing surgery on your boat at this point.
A nightmare. I mean, I would think they caught the fish and then they've been suspected for cheating for years.
Yes.
According to many of these articles, they were widely suspected of cheating in the past. They won a Warrior boat last year in the fall special 2021 tournament.
Yeah, those are great boats, by the way.
It was funny, we were just talking about them this weekend. That boat's worth $150,000, which they sold and split the money. They also failed a polygraph test, which I guess I didn't know this, but that's like an important part of fishing tournaments now. These big ones with large prizes.
So let's stop at the polygraph. So we're in Connecticut, obviously, and there's been a lot of polygraph talk with tournaments in the past. If everybody knows, if the radio station, WICC or something like that, they do a blue fishing tournament. And back in 2012, 2013, somewhere around there, somebody cheated, they failed the polygraph, and right then and there, disqualified. Like, it doesn't even matter. So the fact they failed the polygraph at one point, they should have been disqualified at that point from all future tournaments.
Just from the polygraph?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who knows if that's accurate, though, you know? Like,
who knows? I mean, well, there's a lot of human error. So I did reading on and on. If I do a polygraph on Tyler today, I'm a human. There's human error. I ask different questions. And then if Jimbo does a polygraph a week later, same people, he's asking different questions, different responses. He might take things differently. There's a human error involved.
Yeah.
So I get that too.
Yeah, I mean, at best, I feel like all their victories should be wiped out. They should definitely owe money to the tournament. Like I think they fished
any winning should be handed back.
Yeah,
at this point,
these guys have been cleaning up for the last several years, from what I read.
Do we have any other past results? I would love to see like the last tournament these guys won. How far ahead they're at first, because they won, obviously. I want to see what second place was at. If they're won by like 10...
Well, that's what I said. I don't have the past ones, but this most recent one, they had 5 fish for 33 pounds. Second place was 5 fish for 16 pounds. So they almost doubled their weight.
And I did hear it was tough fishing too. Like they said, the fishing there, it was a very odd day, time of year, whatever. All the stars were not aligning. We've all been there. Many of our trips we've been there. And they said it was tough. So the fact that second place was 16 pounds and you guys were almost double that weight, that's
a little sus.
A little bit.
Obviously, I've read different prize amounts. Some articles say the prize for that tournament was $30,000.
Yeah.
Some articles say $40,000. So I'm not sure the exact number, but $30,000 to $40,000 is still a lot of money. Let's just say $30,000 to be conservative.
Yep.
I guess the more severe, the more prize money that is at stake, if you're involved in cheating, the more severe your penalty will be.
Yep.
So they're talking about jail time for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big fine. I think the overall winnings total, I didn't hear about the boat until today, is it's over $300,000. I mean, that's a lot of money.
If you have to cheat in tournament fishing, man, where's the... It's supposed to be fun, you know? Like,
I mean, there's cheating at all levels, and we joke around a lot about, I fish in a league. Yes, there's tournaments. There's a $100 pot at the end of it. I couldn't sleep at night knowing I cheated to steal $100 out of the hands of people that just work every day to support the hobby. I don't know. I just don't get it.
I know. I had that on here too. But my next thing is you mentioned this earlier about the bluefish. This isn't new. There has been people attempting to cheat in fishing for a long time, and you mentioned this bluefish tournament. 3 guys failed the polygraph test after the tournament.
Yep.
So apparently, when the cash prize is high, they do this polygraph test. And I also want to mention one other thing about the walleye guys. Typically, the dead walleye they donate to the local food bank.
Yep.
These guys would not let the tournament director donate their fish to the local food bank because they would
lead
fillet
poisoning?
it. Yeah, right.
Lead poisoning?
They would fillet it, find the weights. They'd get.
Well, there's extra fillets in those fish. I heard so much through the local. There's guys in leagues that, like we said, what are they winning at the end of them? A couple $100 maybe that day for biggest fish, whatever. There's guys that I heard just one year of fishing, one season of fishing in the league, that they cheated and they're banned from all leagues in Connecticut.
Yeah, it ruins your reputation.
And they got sponsored by Ranger. Like, we all want sponsors. Like, we all want, and they had it. They could have stopped cheating before his tournament and said, let's just go honest. And they would still thrive and have a career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was one other article I found from Wired to Fish from September 2020. These guys, they cleaned up on, I think it was, I didn't write the lake down, Pickwick, maybe something like that, something down south.
I read something. Yep, go ahead.
And then, so they weighed these fish in. They were largemouth bass that were significantly larger, like fat-wise, than
Yes, head size also. Yep.
And their fins had red sores, visible stress.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool, not to get too crazy scientific on here, but the environmental agents or whatever inspected the fish's otoliths in their skulls, and they determined that those fish were from a different lake entirely, because I guess the chemistry in the water can develop those, and you can tell that with this. It was like an isotope study, something like that. But basically, long story short, they were like, dude, you took these fish from a different lake, brought them to this lake, kept them alive somewhere, weighed them in, and they got caught. That's pretty intense.
It is. Like, yeah, it is. I mean, listen, I'm not going to cheat, but if I get caught, maybe that's the way I want to get caught. Some CSI stuff.
That's
I mean,
some CSI.
Yeah. They got me. They got me.
It sounds very expensive to do that, but hey, the fees, they were charged $2,500 restitution, $500 plea fee, so $3,000 in fees, 48 hours of community service, 2 years no hunting, and 5 years no fishing. Is it worth it?
No.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Is $40,000 worth your potential reputation?
Yeah, and I'll say this furthermore, from what they're learning, if you are cheating, they're going to step their game up. Yeah. So I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit there and say this guy beat me fishing, because I mean, I'm not a tournament fisherman. I like to go out, travel, and it's just way more fulfilling for us. But I'll tell you, I mean, there's some things I watched and I'm like, you know, you win every week, something's going on. Like, you're good, and I read this in another article today. It's like, you know, let's talk about the pro levels. The same guy ain't winning every week. You got a guy that's winning at a local level every week, or goes to the same lake every time and wins, or comes back with 25 pounds. I would say look into that guy.
I don't know, man.
No?
I mean, I think that there's something to be said about just guys that can put time, like insane amounts of time on the water, you know, and that's also something that I want to talk about today, is just tournament fishing. Should you get into tournament fishing, the pros and cons of tournament fishing? I certainly think that, like, it's definitely frustrating when the same guy kills it every week after week after week.
But back to my point was, I think, is if the guy's constantly catching 25 pounds every tournament on that same body of water, because of what just happened, don't get upset when they start focusing on you. Because you're going to. Maybe that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Like, things are going to change in the fishing community forever. Next season is going to be a whole different game, I guarantee it.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And the blue fishing one, if you want to dull into that a little bit more, the guys cheating in that, they're not weighing the fish, they're not adding weights or fillets or, you know, corn cobs or whatever else these guys are doing. They're supposed to catch them in Long Island Sound, and they're traveling outside of Long Island Sound, and that's why they're failing polygraph, because they're not saying they caught them in Connecticut water. So, I mean, that's another thing too for that, if you want to delve into that further.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Okay, so that kind of leads us into our next area of discussion today. Who should fish fishing tournaments? I saw a statistic in USA Today, again, that I think the fact checkers might want to check.
Not The View.
But it said, fishing is the second most popular participation sport after jogging. So, not necessarily competitive league fishing, whatever, but like just the most people, hobbies, children maybe doing this. But there's more people fishing now than there ever has been in history, including in the open tournaments. And, you know, these guys, they travel from all over. There's over 200 boats probably every open tournament. I don't again, fact, that's not a stat that I have here in front of me, but I follow a few guys that fish the opens. And some of those tournaments are 180, 200 boats every single tournament. There's so many people fishing, but who is somebody that maybe might want to consider fishing in a tournament? Let's start with the people who you should consider, like, this might be for you.
Are we talking just tournaments or leagues too?
Yeah, like club tournaments.
Clubs, yeah.
Pursue just higher level of fishing.
I mean, I did 1 year or one season in a league/club. There's a lot of great aspects to it. Being with a great group of guys, meeting new people, traveling to different places. And that's where it switched my gears, because I fell in love with the traveling, and I fell in love with the different bodies of water. And that's what really shifted my gears to want to travel. And just, you know what, like, why do we just gotta fish Connecticut lakes? We could just, man, we could go anywhere. And we started doing Clayton and Lake George. We'll talk about our trips in other episodes, but I mean, there's good and bad to it. But as my first year, I think there's a lot of good than there was bad. I just wanted to shift gears. I wanted to do other things.
Definitely. No, I fished the club tournaments for 3 or 4 years. I can't remember which one, but I think I won two or three tournaments, which was like one tournament per year. Like really nothing fancy. Got a lot of seconds. Got skunked several times. You know, like it was inconsistent. I'd say my own performance. I don't claim to be the best tournament fisherman. I can catch fish, but
I was horrible. I need 12 hours. I need 2 days on a large body of water to figure it out. Come back with nothing, but I was like okay with it, because the other thing too that I forgot to add was it was cool to see, like, when I didn't catch anything, it was cool to see, like, wow, there's actually fish here. Because a lot of my early days in a tournament, I was like, there's no fish in this lake. And then you go to weigh and you're like, yeah, there's fish. I just didn't know how to catch them.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I think the first group of people that I think should pursue tournament fishing is just, if you mentioned like powwowing with people or camaraderie, like just if you want to meet people that are fishermen, and it does kind of feel cool to fish competitively for a day. It's cool. It gives you a little added pressure, a little bit of like sense of urgency. It's something to do. Like kind of this is the most like, you know, generic reason I think that you should do tournament fishing. If you want to meet people, you want to be competitive, that's cool. Definitely check it out. I think another demographic of people that should consider this are people who are serious. So if you want to fish the next level, like if you want to qualify and you want to fish the Bass series and you want to work your way up and potentially fish professionally, you should obviously do this. But that comes with a lot of money investment.
Absolutely.
If you're serious about fishing, you have to be able to spend 3-4 days a week on the water, on practicing, grinding, like studying, like your job.
Yeah, like absolutely.
And if you're not gonna do that, but it's like anything, you know, you have to put in time in order to see the return.
And then you also, like you said, money. So you get sucked into like, is my boat good enough? Is my boat big enough? I run a small boat. I'm a big guy in a small boat. What can I say? But I love it. I built it for me. I fish big water with it. But like, you know, a lot of guys would be like, well, you need a bigger boat. And I'm like, well, why do I? You know, or you know, your boat doesn't go fast enough. I'm gonna, you know, early on when I was building my boat, the guys were like, oh, you know, I'm gonna want to race. And I'm like, no, like I'm still gonna catch fish. Like, you know, so you get sucked in. Like I gotta keep up with the Joneses type mentality, and that's disheartening too. You might fall in a nice club or league and you start off, and then all these guys are buying $100,000 boats, which is fine. I don't knock that. Anybody can do whatever they want to do. But you almost, like, you'll ruin a good kid before he can even shine. Money-wise.
The guys in the aluminum bass tracker they're always in the top 3 anyway.
Oh, yeah.
They always catch them.
Yeah, they're banging off logs and rocks.
Yeah.
I tried taking my boat, if you guys know Twin Lakes, he's like, oh, go under the bridge. So I tried doing that, my old motor, and got sucked under the bridges and ripped my cowling off, and it was a disaster. So, I mean, the tin boat guys, you guys got an advantage. If I was going to do it again, I'd probably do a tin rig with like a 9.9 in the back, an old school Johnson, and I'm banging off every rock and log.
Yeah, so if you're gonna fish tournaments, you have to be willing to invest and lose money. So you have to pay tournament fees, the gas to get to the ramp in your truck, the gas on the water, the tackle for, like, hey, what's working? Spinner baits? I'm gonna buy 6 spinner baits. Like, every tournament there is expenses, and you lose more tournaments than you win 100%.
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to lose that money every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks.
And then boat insurance too, you throw out in there, which everybody should have.
Yeah, you have to for tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another thing, you have to be willing to give up your a lot of Saturdays. So, you know, and that's another reason why I kind of got out of tournament fishing, is because, you know, when I started this YouTube channel, I was using every Saturday for 2 years filming, and because I wanted to do 1 video a week. I work a full-time job, so the only opportunity for me to film was on Saturdays. So I'm like, dude, I'm not giving up 2 Saturdays a month to fish in a tournament that I'm probably not going to win. And on top of it, the guys, I started not really vibing with a lot of the guys. So I'm over this, man. I want to do what I want on my Saturdays. I want to grow my YouTube channel.
Like this channel for me, I just hang out. I just hang out and we travel. I help out. It's kind of a hobby for me. It keeps me going more so than the tournaments do because, it's just where we go is beautiful and like what we do is pure and awesome and there's nothing better on a Friday after work driving 6 hours to a location, sleeping on some random dirt road, and I don't know, it just does it for me.
Yeah, if you guys want to see any of that, those episodes, I've got a few on my channel, the Lake George, I think Adirondacks, and New Hampshire, I think 3 different videos, 2 or 3 videos. I'll put them in the description. You can check those camping videos out because that's definitely a good time. And we're also going to talk about that in a future episode as well. But just to kind of close out, the people that should do fishing tournaments, I think if you're naturally gifted fisherman, if you go out fishing every week and you freaking slay them, and you're catching 18 pounds, 21 pounds, like, you should consider it. And if you want to advance your career and competitively fish, you have to fish tournaments.
And the people that should do it shine, because the people that should do it, like, they're the ones that are super nice to you from the start to finish of any day, any tournament, on the body of the water. They're the most respectful, the ones that should do it, and their positive energy follows through with the fish they catch, because that's why they do well. Now, let's tumble into the guys that shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
If you're mad because a guy cuts you off when you're fishing a bank, and you might think that he intentionally did it, and the winning prize money at the end of that day is $100. Don't threaten to fight him at the end of that day. Don't whatever. Like, that's what we ran into.
So I have that on my list here, not to jump ahead, but one time I was fishing a tournament and a guy was, we were fishing docks. It was like a dock fishing time of year. A guy was trolling this way. There was a large stretch of docks, probably like 300 feet, 200 feet, like not small. And we each kind of started opposite directions and we were trolling this way, like this. I was fishing these docks, he was fishing these docks. And then once we got close, I went around him like this. I gave him the space, and then I went on the, and I'm gonna pick up all his scraps on those other docks, And he turns to me and he freaks out. He freaks out, says I'm too close to him. He literally said, "Meet me in the parking lot after the tournament."
I remember the phone call.
Like,
my phone rang, and I thought it was like you catching a slob, and I'm like, great, and it was like, hey, some guy wants to fight me after the tournament on the ramp. I'm like, okay. Like, does that, and listen, it was my first year, and I'm like, does this happen? Like, because everybody up to that point was super nice. I'm on Candlewood, and, we pulled chips for numbers, and I took off, right surrounding the boats. I just hammered down, and I shot water into this guy's boat.
Into the boat?
Yeah. I'm not going to say any name, but yeah. And, he didn't, come chase me down, and he didn't, whatever. He waited to the end, came up to me like a gentleman, and he goes, hey, I know this was your first couple tournaments with us. Just, slow roll out and get away from the group before you hammer into it. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I know. And he handled like a pure gentleman. So that was probably my only situation with somebody. Yeah. And I was like, so when you called me that day and you're like, someone wants to fight me at the ramp, I'm like, does this even happen? We're fishing. Dude, like, who's mad fishing?
We're fishing for $200.
Not even. Not even.
I know.
Points?
I know, dude.
Like, points? Like,
he wants to fight over this. But so to kind of circle back around, those are the guys that shouldn't be tournament fishing.
No.
And I think at least in the club level, at the local level, these lakes that we fish here in Connecticut, there's a few exceptions, but they're mostly ponds. Like, they're tiny lakes. Everybody that fishes these lakes knows all the spots. They know where the grass is. They know where the rock piles are. It's all kind of close for skill level too. Like, yeah, sure, you got the guys that hammer them. Like, there's 1 or 2 guys maybe for each club that just catches fish consistently. But like, we're all doing the same thing. In April, we're all throwing jerk baits. We're all throwing hair jigs. Yep. As the year moves on, we're all doing the same thing. So like, there's not much, in my opinion, there's not much room to separate yourself when you're fishing a lake that's less than 1,000 acres. These lakes, like, you can get to the other side in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You're all throwing the same thing. You all know the same spots. Like, whatever. It gets old. Like, to your point earlier, when you travel to a big lake, not only is it new water, it's beautiful, but there's always undiscovered things you can do. You can always find something. It's not, and there's never, you can find places where that haven't been hit that day.
Like George, first time there. We hit the ramp, and I don't want to go too far into our trips because we're going to stay up for another episode. At the ramp, the guy's like, we're like, hey, how'd you do? He's like, oh, you guys here to perch fish? And we're like, no, we're here to bass fish. And he goes, there's no bass here.
Right.
And the first 4 to 6 hours was nothing.
Right.
Nothing. We were like, we just drove 4 hours to catch nothing. And we were like, we wanted to give up. And then all of a sudden, bam, we laid into him. And I think that day we caught 20 smallmouth.
Yeah.
And we grinded it out. And that was like, this is why we do it.
Yeah, 100%. And again, nobody hit that spot that day.
No.
Like, in a tournament, you're getting spots that have been hit twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, it's all like roulette, And if you guys want to look at that video, I'll put that in the description below. That was an awesome video to make. Yeah. The first time we went to Lake George, it was April, it was freezing cold, it was really fun. Let's talk about the entry fees for tournaments.
Low level, high level?
Well, we can do both.
Let's start low and work our way up.
Okay, so at the local level, I think we touched on this a bit earlier, but financially, is it worth fishing local tournaments?
Did we finish who shouldn't fish?
No.
Okay, are we going to stay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just basically right now, is it worth it financially to fish local tournaments?
We do a lot of
financially, prize money wise.
Low level?
Yeah.
No, it's a glorified hobby.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's why, to get mad because you drifted or you took my spot or whatever. For at the end of the day, you're not going to make any money, and you're probably going to spend $100+ to get there. You're just not. You should not fish those tournaments. You should not. Just stay on a private body of water away from everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's best case scenario.
Stay in the bike lane, if you will.
I think you said this earlier as well with the time limit. Like, I want to stay out there more than 6-7 hours sometimes. Yeah. Let's talk about Bass Open fees.
Okay.
So I was looking on the Bass Open's website today, and they closed the register page down, I think, just because the season's over. But the entry fees per event for a pro angler, who I'm assuming just means a boater.
Yep.
$1,800.
Okay.
Okay. So you're almost $2,000 in the hole already.
Yep.
Now, driving your boat there.
We'll drive your truck there with your boat.
Truck and boat.
Gotcha.
So
are we gonna wrap the truck? Vinyl wrap?
Let's just say you and I are going. We're fishing an open tournament.
Okay.
So let's say $200 in fuel to get to the tournament.
Okay.
Now the payouts. Keep in mind there's 200. Let's say 150 boaters, just to be conservative. They only pay out the top 40. So you have to place in the top 40 to get your money back.
Can I reverse gears real quick?
Yeah.
For those open tournaments, right? So I think there's some big chunk of that we're not missing. You could drive anything. You could pull the boat with anything. It could be a Mazda Miata as long as it pulls it. But to qualify to open fishies, you have to have a certain boat. It has to be a certain length and a certain horsepower. I want to say that FLW or something like that, you can run B-Lat, Brian Latimer. I think he did a couple of those where, and he talked about this, where you can run an 18-foot boat with a 150 or more.
So I think that's a fact.
I'm not too sure on that, but I know it starts somewhere. So I think it's an 18-foot boat with no less than 150 horsepower, which is fine because a lot of guys fall in that category. But so you're restricted what you can run. I can't fish them with my baby boat, but besides that, that's another expense. So you got to meet those criteria too. So, and then is the truck reliable? Is the vehicle pulling the boat going to get there? So there's a lot of factors just to get to the show.
Yeah, shouts out B-Lab, by the way. I'm gonna put the payout chart right here, but you can see the prize money all the way from 40th place to 26th place is $2,300. So that's your entry fee plus $500.
Yep.
You're losing money.
Oh yeah.
So, because with gas, food, lodging, unless you do the truck camping, you're still losing $500.
Yeah.
Tackle. The prize money from 25th place to 21st is $2,500, $700 more than your entry fee.
Yep.
You're making $700.
Yeah.
If you're getting top 20. I stand corrected. Top 21st. Top 20 through 13, you're $2,750.
Yep.
So 13th place out of 150 anglers, you're making not even $1,000. You're making $950.
You're not ordering food. We eat well on our trips. It's ribeye.
You're getting ground beef.
Yep.
Now
maybe
top 12th place, $3,500. So you're making $1,700. Again, I don't want to go through each of these numbers, but
you're making that, but you already spent $1,800 to get into the show.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is the check you get, not including the expenses that we're discussing. Yeah. I would say, you have to get in the top 10. You have to place in top 10 for this to be worth it. And 10th place is $4,500. So you're making, what is that, $2,700?
Yeah.
$2,700.
Yeah.
And
a lot of these guys that fish the opens, they got a $100,000 truck, they got a $100,000 boat, and I just want to bring this up because I thought it was crazy. I was kind of have a glorified thing of wrapping my truck in vinyl, so I have the actual price: $5,500 to $7,500 to wrap your truck. So these guys, they got sponsors that pay for that. It's great, but there's some guys out there just pay their way. They have zero sponsors, but they want that wrapped rig and they want that. They got payments. They got and they're not winning anything.
Right. Yeah, and
But sorry, I love those guys because those guys aren't cheating. They're not stuffing weights in fish.
Yeah, that's.
And they're in the negative every week or every 2 weeks when they go. They're just.
I'd like to talk about that for a quick second. For the most part, the guys that are in fishing are decent guys. I would say 90% of them are solid guys.
Yep.
So I don't want this to come off as like we're bashing, like think that fishermen are bad in any way. There are bad apples in every bunch, but I think for most fishermen, they are conservatives. As far as natural resources go, they take care of fish, that sort of thing. They don't cheat. And and what about the guys? Do people that do this also have full-time jobs? Probably most of them, right?
Yeah, well, they would have to.
Yeah.
Or a lot of nice wives out there that pay their way, which we're working towards that. I don't think it's going to ever happen, but we're maybe one day.
Yeah. So 4th place, you get a $10,000 check.
Nice.
4th out of 150 plus anglers, which the odds of that occurring.
Yep.
There's. By the way,
a lot of these guys rent Airbnbs.
Yeah, definitely. There's Bass Pros, the Elite Series guys fish the opens.
Yeah.
So you're not beating those guys. You might. Shouts out. There's a couple guys from Connecticut.
This is why on one of our trips, I was so excited about a $3 pair of tongs that I bought off Amazon.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not here to win.
No,
I'm here to just have a good time.
Yeah, 100%. But if 3 of those Bass Open guys fish the tournament, they're getting top 10. They're getting top 20 for sure. So those are 3 spots you're not getting.
Yeah.
I wish they could kind of just stay out of the. If you qualify with the elites, I get it. They probably want to make an extra check or something. But so unless you're getting top 6, I would say that it's not worth it. 6th place is $8,000. So you're making $5,500. That's a solid income for a month or two,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know a lot of guys on local level that do a lot of small Connecticut-based stuff, and they do very well. They win pretty much all of them, and then they do guides on the side, and they throw it off, and it's that I think that YouTube. A lot of pros started getting into YouTube, and they throw it out. They they're not winning every week, so they had to balance it out. So.
I did see one thing in regards to the prize money recently too, and guys got to fact check this one because I couldn't find.
They will.
So I saw a creator posted this, and again, I don't know how accurate, and I did look this one up. Major League Fishing Tournament, Florida Gators, University of Florida College Fishing Championships. The prize in 2010 was a $100,000 prize.
Wow.
For 2 anglers.
Because we were just talking about the college guys, and I loved watching it. I watched one for the first time, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I forget where it was, and I made a point, I was like, Tyler, look at this kid was killing it. I don't know his name. But his boat was old. It was ripped, the carpets flying off as he's driving. Sheets look like, what did you say, an alligator came up and bit the top of the sea, or a shark? And I'm not clowning him. I love that. I love every bit of that because he passes me tenfold in fishing, and he's just out there grinding.
Yeah, we know a guy like that in Connecticut. Shouts out Franco if you
Yeah,
watch
Franco.
this. But anyway, back to my point. They won $100,000, and that was in 2010. The 2022 prize for a similar tournament, I couldn't find the numbers for the MLF college tournament, but, and again, this is from a creator that I saw. It wasn't from a news article, but they posted the winners in 2022, $5,000, a $5,000 prize, and 2 Humminbird Helix 9s or Helix 10s. I just put the Humminbird Helixes. So they got 2 like pretty nice graphs. Let's say those are $3,000 each.
They weren't 7s?
They were nice ones. They were the newest ones.
They got the good ones.
Plus $5,000. So they got just over $10,000 in prizes, 2 of which they have to take the time and rig up to their boat, compared to $100,000 12 years ago.
I love when they win a boat, and you're like, oh my God, I won a boat. And you get a certificate, and then they leave, and the hype dies down, and they come to and they read it, and it's a boat with no motor.
Really?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Get out of here.
It happens, trust me. They don't even get the boat. They have one there, and it's all decked out, and they're like, wow, it's a boat I'm going to win. No, it's not. They get a certificate. And what got me onto that was these guys, you'll see them on like the, bassboatforsale.com or something like that, a website, and it'll just be like a certificate. And they'll sell you a certificate, and then you go do it. And there was a lot of them I saw that was just the hull, trailer, and no motor. And the guy, and I was like, how do you win a boat with no motor? Like, that's a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So, I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness with winnings and stuff. Sorry.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's just, my whole point in that is, like, especially with the cost of everything now, like, it's really not worth it unless you're cleaning up every single week. Like,
yeah.
It's not
why those guys? I mean, and the chance of you cleaning up every week is so...
Right.
It's rare. Like, it doesn't happen. Go back to let's talk bass elites. The elite pros. They're not winning every week.
And those are the best anglers in the country, if not the world.
I don't think didn't someone win back to back this year?
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
I think Jason Christie won the classic and
early on,
and then he won an elite tournament right after.
Were they back to back? Right.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty close. He won twice.
The odds of that, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna throw a number on it. I'm not that guy. It doesn't happen back to back. That's like lightning struck.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys are incredible.
And I will tell you this: if it happened the third time, I guarantee you, questions. After he won again, listen. There's all garbage talkers on all levels. Guarantee someone's like, "How do you win again?"
Well, there's marshals in every boat,
which is great.
Yeah.
You're gonna see a lot more of that.
Yeah. They
Absolutely.
should do it in Lake Erie. They probably will after that. I have another story. My next reason why I think fishing tournaments may be bad for the fishing world is guys that ruin spots. My brother-in-law and I were fishing recently. We were at this lake fishing for walleye, and we fish all day. It sucks. We're not catching anything. We caught a couple smallmouth, and then we leave. And this guy comes up to us in the parking lot, and he was like, "How you guys do?" And this guy was old. He was like 70. Like, he was old as dirt. And no offense to old people. And we're like, "Dude, we didn't do good at all." And he's like, yeah, it's been tough. Like, we got a couple keepers this year. We catch one keeper at least a time. But back in, I don't remember what year he named, but he was like, I wrote it down. 1,800. They stocked this place with salmon as well. I used to keep 1,800 salmon in one year. Yeah. He was shocked that we didn't catch anything. And then in the same thought, he said he kept 1,800 salmon in 1 year. So
that's a lot.
Well, that's a lot. That's, if you fished every single day, that's like 5 fish per day. And he's not fishing every single day. So imagine when they stock a place, they probably stock it with 2,000 fish.
Yeah.
Like 1,800 fish in 1 year. He was bragging about keeping, and then he's wondering why the fishing sucks.
Well, we were just talking about that. Like, I'm not a trout fisherman. I literally will fish anything. I don't care. I'm not. Yes, I have a bass boat, but we were talking about why I was very naive to trout fishermen, because I went once or twice in waders in a river, and I get there and I'm standing next to 60 other guys and they're all yelling at each other. They're all mad at each other, and they're fishing the same river. And it's like they went on the exact day they said they were stocked. And earlier this year I caught a 12-pound brown by an accident. I wish it to this day it was still a smallie. I get slack for that, but anyways, it was a great fish and opened my eyes to other things. And we talked about, they're going the day they stock them. It's like they're not even out of the truck, and the guy's there with a net.
And those stocked fish bite everything.
Yeah, because you're starving. And it's like, oh my God, let the freaking things grow.
Yeah.
The 12-pound brown I caught was in a place it shouldn't have been because it was able to grow.
Right.
I want a 12-year-old to catch that fish.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, that's just...
No, your fish was fish of a lifetime, man.
Yeah.
And there's guys, there's a few, there's not many gems anymore. There's some kayak spots I think you can find that are gems. There's not places that, how I like to say, they fish like they should. Like you catch a lot of shorts, you can do everything right. You're not gonna catch quality 4+ pound fish. But this most recent year, there is one spot here where there's trophy trout, and this past year guys just wrecked it. They
ice fishing.
They just allowed ice fishing here, and the guys were my friends told me stories about guys just dragging 3+ keepers across the ice. I'm not opposed to keeping a fish here and there, but if you watch my trout catch and cook video, we catch those fish that are like 16-inch, 18-inch range. So they're small,
yep,
but they're big enough to eat. And I even say in the video, throw the big ones back, keep the ones that are in that slot. Like the ones that got that big, they deserve to survive, and people deserve to catch them and throw them back.
Connecticut's doing a decent job with... And not so much the freshwater fish, they're doing a really good job with the saltwater fish. They changed the slot for stripers. I don't know the numbers. I know they changed the rules for the blackfish. It used to be 5, I think, keepers. Now it's 3.
And it's probably because people are just wrecking them.
Yeah, I threw back that 12-pound brown, and there's a part of me that I don't eat fish, so there's a part of me that I should have kept it and mounted it on my wall. But I threw it back because I wanted, a little kid to catch it.
Yeah.
With his dad.
Yeah.
I caught it. I was like, great. But imagine, a 13-year-old reels that in for the first time fishing with his dad. The hallmark moment. That's what it's all about.
100%.
That's what it's all about.
100% agreed. And, a fish that size, I would say minimum 10 years to get that size. Maybe 15. That's a long time, and then it's just gone.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that I'm not a vegan at all. I eat animals, but I eat the appropriately sized fish for sure. The big ones,
Well, that's why I like with the stripers. I don't know the numbers. They change the slot, and they're you got to throw back big ones. Keep the small
28 inches to 34 or something like that.
Yeah, and you know what? Great. Those big fish, they put their time in. They know what they're doing.
Right.
They're like the pros. They're the ones that are breeding. Those are the ones laying eggs. They got it figured out. They made it that long. Like that 12-pound brown. That guy, he lasted in a body of water that he shouldn't have been in for 10+ years. That guy figured it out. He's going to be here for another whatever lifespan.
He said that guy figured it out.
Yeah, he's a pro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this guy doesn't even have a lot of experience, hooked onto him. I owe him the respect to throw him back.
So I'm here at the end of my yeses and nos for tournament fishing, but we have met some great people tournament fishing. There are other guys that are still even talk to this day, really good guys. But for those of you guys listening, definitely not discouraging anybody from trying this. Get out and try it. It is good. The competitive nature of it is fun. The added pressure is fun. Winning is fun.
Yep.
But I have not won a whole lot to really,
If you were to message us privately, we would tell you which one we fished with, because I would still recommend that.
Absolutely.
Club. It was great.
Yeah, this channel here as well, we don't share, or we don't avoid sharing information. If anybody wants to comment in the description and let us know what you guys want to know. If you guys like this form of content, on this channel as opposed to none of my fishing videos are scripted either, but my kitchen videos are a little bit scripted. But like the conversational content, if you guys like this, comment down below. Let us know what else you would like us to talk about. We've got some stuff planned for the next episode. You know, and you mentioned this, for me, I have the most fun traveling, seeing new water, seeing the sights, not knowing what to expect. And when we visit these new lakes too, we always catch something quality, and it's just fun. That's fun for me. That's how I want to spend my Saturdays.
We don't always catch fish, because it is called fishing. There has been a day where we drove 11 and a half hours straight, fished 3 different lakes, and drove home in silence because we skunked out.
No, for sure, but those experiences leading up to that, you know, like the sleeping on the road, like just figuring it out as you go are like priceless, you know? So, do you have anything else you want to add as far as today's tournament fishing discussion?
No, I mean,
fisherman discussion.
Everybody should give tournaments, clubs, anything, opens, anything a try. It's not for everybody. You'll figure that out pretty quickly, and you'll also figure out who shouldn't be there. They always shine like a diamond, and they're there. But just give it a shot. You never know.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. Next time we're going to talk about our truck camping setups and some of our favorite spots in New England that we've visited. And if you want to see the construction of that truck camper project, I'll put that in the description below too. Definitely check out some of our other videos. But till next time, thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.